The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission has released its report on their findings into the dairy industry. Now, Dairy Connect, the representative body for our dairy farmers, sees the report's findings as a great step forward for our dairy farmers and the whole industry. To find out more, I'm joined by the CEO of Dairy Connect, Shaughn Morgan, on the line. Shaughn, thank you for your time this morning.
A pleasure, Jess. It's great to be here with you.
Now, to start with, what were the key findings and key recommendations out of this ACCC report?
The final report that was handed down recently and has now been released publicly is being considered by both the federal government and industry dairy bodies throughout Australia. Importantly, the report puts forward a number of recommendations, 8 in total, all of which I think are instrumental in trying to ensure a strong, viable and sustainable dairy industry into the future. One of the more important ones that they've put forward is that of the introduction of a mandatory code. Now, the mandatory code would be looking at issues associated with the current milk supply agreements and ways in which those agreements can be put on a more balanced, fair, transparent platform. At the moment, there are always inequities in bargaining powers between producers, processors, retailers, and having a mandatory code is one way to ensure that those inequities are overcome, and when dealing with others who may have a superior bargaining power, it's a balanced platform, a fair platform, an outcome that ensures a sustainable farm gate price at a time when the current costs for the industry are continuing to rise. Just look at the cost of energy for a dairy farmer at the moment, as well as ensuring just the basics of life, having food on the table, paying for the kids' bills. We as an industry lobbying group, Dairy Connect, will go and talk to politicians, interest groups and stakeholders to advocate strongly, very strongly, for a mandatory code that restores integrity, restores trust and ensures viability for the future of the dairy industry throughout Australia.
This code of conduct, I feel like this is really quite pivotal and quite key, at least in the 21st century, for our farmers. As you said, they do face quite a number of challenges, and having something like this in place to protect them when they need it really would be essential.
Absolutely, Jess. At the moment, there is a voluntary code. It's been shown to have failed. It's clearly not working, and it's been around for a number of months now, and it's not being abided by. What we need is oversight by the ACCC. We need an independent arbiter to ensure that there is balance within the industry. And it is once in a generation opportunity that's been provided to us. We don't want another situation like 2 years ago with Murray Goulburn and Fonterra. We want to ensure that there are no longer the clawbacks that were put at the time. We want to ensure that there is no longer exclusivity of supply, that you can provide your milk, if you have excess milk, to a supplier of choice, so that you're able to ensure that you get the best farm gate price that is out there. And we strongly believe, as I said before, that a mandatory code is the way to go. And we compliment the ACCC, we compliment the Deputy Chairman of the ACCC, Mick Keogh, on a report that provides balance and a way forward. Of course, there will be some debate about what's contained in it. That's good. Robust debate is important. We need to ensure that we have that so that we get the best outcome.
You mentioned the farm gate price. Now, there has been a lot of talk about this, definitely this year, and how much it is lessening and how that's impacting our farmers. Now, this report, it didn't quite seem to find that the price of milk, when it's on the supermarket shelf, hugely affected our farmers.
Well, the ACCC looked closely at what retailers were providing to the consumer. One of those is the generic branded milk at $1 a litre. Clearly, this is a symptom of what's been going on beforehand. It's part of the debate. Clearly that there is issues within the industry about why it is that milk is cheaper than water. You're not going to put water on your Wheaties. You're going to make sure that you have nutritious milk that is available to be used on that breakfast table or in your coffee or in the evening. And at the moment, I think that debate needs to be had. If the retailers continue to believe that they need to have this price value, then they need to look at ways in which a fairer price can be passed down the value chain through the processor back to the supplier, back to the producer. Clearly, the $1 a litre milk is an issue that has engendered much debate. It hurts in some ways the industry itself, and it's something that we at Dairy Connect intend to raise with the retailers. whether it be Woolworths, Coles, Aldi, Tristan Harris Farm Market, or whoever. We intend to ensure that this discussion be had, that a fair outcome is obtained, and if generic milk is causing concern, which I should add that the ACCC, through its report over almost 18 months, concluded didn't impact that adversely on the farm gate price, then we should have it. And could I also add that at the end of the day, it is between the farmer and the processor about obtaining a fair farm gate price for the dairy farmer themselves. We need to ensure that the processor, when they're dealing in their discussions with their retailers, gets a return that's fair not only to their shareholders, as we have very few co-ops still in Australia, but also to the farmer who provides the nutritious milk itself.
And looking at the relationship between the processors and the farmers, the report also found that contracts need to be streamlined in a way that they're not more simple maybe, but easier to understand and easier to comprehend and better for our farmers.
Absolutely, Jess. One of the concerns that we've raised before is the fact that there are a number of documents that are provided to the farmer at different points in time. You have the handbook, you have the milk supply agreement, and then you have the price letter, all of which may be provided to the farmer at different times. Clearly, that's not fair for a farmer to be able to sit down to look at such a myriad of documents. It's important that the dairy farmer is able to provide a document that is easy to understand, is in plain English, and is not one-sided. It needs to be balanced. It needs to be fair.
Exactly. Now, at the end, and lastly, at the end of the day, do you think this ACCC inquiry is going to go a long way to benefiting our farmers and the whole industry?
I do, and I believe Dairy Connect will be advocating in a manner that will illustrate as to why. Clearly, Minister Littleproud has an obligation to ensure that we get the best outcome. I hope that he reviews this report, a report that was developed over a large number of months after many meetings with farmers throughout all states by the Commissioner, by the Commission and its representatives. They formed the strong view that a mandatory code is vital. It seems to me that if they, after so many months of investigation and review and discussion, have come to this view, after also talking to the processors and others, then surely it is incumbent upon the federal government to implement these recommendations now, to commit to them before the federal election, and not wait until the industry continues to see more dairy farmers leave, and we have a situation that at some future point, future generation of the dairy industry may find that we're importing milk and not producing our own. That would be a tragedy, a travesty, and one that we must ensure does not happen.
It certainly would be tragic. Shaughn Morgan, the CEO of Dairy Connect, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Absolute pleasure, Jess, and have a lovely day.